Today we're going to start looking at comparing and ordering times using the words before, after, and next. Let's start off with a little warm-up of everything we've been looking at this week. On the board there is a clock. Can you work out what time this clock is saying? We've got our minute hand pointing down at the 6, which tells us that it is a 1:30 time, and our hour hand has gone past the 1. It's halfway past the 1. This time is 1:30. Let's see if you can try and do the next one on your own. So looking at the board, what time is this? It's another 1:30. We can see the minute hand down at the bottom. And what hour has it gone past? Remember which way the hands move. It's moved round and it's gone halfway past the 7. So it's 1:30. What time does this say? Have a look at our hour hand. It's pointing exactly at a number. And to give us an extra clue, the minute hand is on the 12 at the top, which tells us it is an o'clock time. It must be 4 o'clock. Okay, quickly before we get started with today's learning, I have 3 questions for you on the board. And I wonder if you could tell the answer to somebody in your family. How many minutes are there in 1 hour? Does anybody know how many minutes in an hour? I'm going to start writing up the number and see if you agree with me. There are 60 minutes in an hour. So then the next question, how many minutes are there in half an hour? So we've been talking about o'clock and 1:30. We've been looking at moving time in half an hour intervals. How many minutes is that? Do you either know or can you try and halve the number 6? That's a very tricky challenge. There are 30 minutes in half an hour. And your final challenge, how many hours are there in a day? So in a whole day, including day and night, how many hours are there? So it means it has to go all the way around the clock twice. All the way from midnight, all the way around until midnight again. So it goes around 12 hours, and then it has to go around another 12 hours for a full day. So 12 plus 12 gives us the answer. There are 24. There are 24 hours in a day. Okay, our friend Ravi has told us everything that he did yesterday. And as well as giving us the activities, he has told us the time that he has done them, but he has not put them in order. So our challenge is to order the activities that Ravi did yesterday. So let's get started. Can we see any there that we think might be maybe the first or the last things that he did? Looks like these are everything he did in the evening. We have got at 7:30, I did my homework. 6:30, I had a bath. 8 o'clock, I got ready for bed. 6 o'clock, I read some stories. 8:30, I went to sleep. 7 o'clock, I watched TV. Anything there that we know straight away might be the first or the last thing that he did? Have a little think. Now, as well as just ordering the events, we can use the clocks and the time to help us. So I'm looking for the earliest time. Which is the earliest time? Is it going to be 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or 6 o'clock? Now, I know on a clock and using my number line that 6 comes first. 6 is the earliest time that we have got here. Now, what comes after 6? What comes after 6? 7 comes after 6. And then what comes after 7? It's the number 8. 6, 7, 8. But I'm not finished because there are 3 more activities here. And they get a little bit trickier because here I've got 7:30, 8:30, and 6:30. We've done the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. But where would these ones come? Let's look at this one first. At 6:30, I had a bath. Where does 6:30 go? Does it go before 6 o'clock? Does it go before 7 o'clock? 6:30 goes between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. It's half an hour after 6 o'clock and half an hour before 7 o'clock. It's halfway between the 6 and the 7. So at 6 o'clock, I read some stories. At 6:30, I had a bath. At 7 o'clock, I watched TV. What must come next then? What comes before our 8 o'clock here? It must be 8:30 or 7:30. 8:30 tells us it's gone past 8 o'clock, so that must be the latest. So before 8 o'clock, at 7:30, I did my homework. So we have ordered everything that Ravi did. There are some words that we can use there, and there are words that we've looked at in English, some of our time conjunctions. We've got words like first. So first, at 5 o'clock, he played with his toys. Second, at 6 o'clock, he read some stories. Third, at 6:30 in the evening, he had a bath. So we can use these words to help us order the different things. What did Ravi do before he read some stories? So this is Ravi reading some stories in the middle. What did he do before that? So before that, earlier than that, he played with his toys. What did he do after reading some stories? So after reading stories, or next, he had a bath. Now we're quickly going to look at Holly's timetable together. This is her timetable for a Monday morning at school. At this time, she does maths. At this time, Holly does reading. Next, Holly has a break. Then Holly has a PE lesson. And finally, Holly practices some spelling. I can see our minute hand is either pointing at the 12 for o'clock times or pointing at the 6 for our 6:30 times. We've got 5 different events here that either happen on the o'clock times or the 6:30 times. Now we've got some questions here. What did she study at this time here? Can you have a look at that clock? What does that clock say? The minute hand's at the 12. That tells me it must be an o'clock time. So I look to the hour hand for a clue. My short hand is pointing straight at the 11. It must be 11 o'clock. Can we match that over here? This is an o'clock time, but it's pointing at 9. So that can't be 11 o'clock. This is a 6:30 time. Oh, this is an o'clock time, but it's pointing at the 10. That's 10 o'clock. That's a 6:30 time. 11 o'clock. So it must be this bottom one. What did she do? She did some spelling. Okay, and question B, what did she study at 9:30? Can you find the clock that shows 9:30? I know that 9:30 means my long hand, my minute hand must be pointing at the 6 at the bottom, and it must have just gone past the 9. So it's between 9 and 10. Which one shows me that? This one shows me 9:30 between the 9 and 10. It must be this one. She was studying reading. The next question, what did she do before break? What does before mean? It means earlier than. It means that it happened in the one above break. It's already happened. So it's happened earlier than break. Break is here. What was she doing before that? It must have been reading. What did she have after break? So that's what she did next. So if break is here, next, it will be this one. It must be the PE lesson. After PE, what did she have next? So again, that's going later. We've had PE. What did she do next? And it must be spelling. That's what happened last. And this is your challenge for today. You've got 1 page to do in your workbook, which is very, very similar to that activity with Holly. But Elliot has told us the 4 things that he does on a Saturday. And we've got the clocks here. And there are 4 questions for you to answer. What was Elliot doing at this time? What did Elliot do after waking up? What did Elliot do before going on his family outing? Elliot cleaned his room at so you need to write a time. He next. So what did he do after cleaning his room? What did he do next? Good luck. You don't have to send us a picture of this, but we would love to see what you have been doing, especially as we don't have a maths lesson tomorrow. So we would love to see what you're doing. Good luck and message us if you have any questions. See you next week.